there, my quarter-spending arcade warriors. Today we're diving fist first into a gaming legend that turned living rooms into battlegrounds and friends into rivals. Imagine a world where throwing fire from your hands or lightning-fast kicks wasn't just possible, but necessary to claim victory and honor. Yes, we're talking about Street Fighter II, the World Warrior, the game that made your quarters vanish faster than your patience on a losing streak. And stick around because you won't want to miss the tale of a hidden detail so obscure it took gamers years to catch. A secret that might just redefine your childhood victories and defeats.
Sonic Boom! Ooh, oh! You lose!
In the early 1990s, Capcom set out to redefine the arcade experience, crafting a sequel to their mildly successful Street Fighter game. Little did they know they were about to etch their names in the annals of gaming history. Street Fighter II's development was spearheaded by a visionary duo, Akira Nishitani and Akira Yasuda. Yes, these two weren't just developing a game, they were setting the foundation for what would become the fighting game genre as we know it today. The development of Street Fighter II was a giant task filled with innovation and a flair for and a fair share of challenges. The team aimed to create a game that was accessible yet deep, with a focus on competitive play. They introduced a roster of 8 unique characters, each with their own fighting style, backstory, and special moves. A far cry from the limited options in the original Street Fighter. This diversity meant players could find a character that resonated with them, a concept that was revolutionary at the time. One of the technical marvels behind Street Fighter II was its combo system. Interestingly, this foundational gameplay mechanic was actually a glitch. The developers discovered that under certain conditions, attacks could be chained together in rapid succession, a technique not originally intended. Instead of removing it, they recognized the depth it added to gameplay and embraced it, setting a new standard for the genre. The game also pushed the boundaries of arcade hardware, utilizing the CPS-1 arcade system. Capcom was able to bring detailed sprites and backgrounds to life, accompanied by a memorable soundtrack that still resonates with fans today. The development wasn't without its controversies though. Balancing the characters proved to be a monumental task, leading to numerous iterations and tweaks even after the game's release. This constant fine-tuning sparked debates within the community, some arguing it disrupted the competitive landscape. And speaking of landscapes, in the world of Street Fighter II, the stage is set not for diplomacy, but for combat. This title introduced gamers to a diverse cast of fighters, each stepping out from their corners of the globe with stories that intertwined ambition, honor, and a touch of personal vendetta. From the disciplined karate of Ryu to the electrifying capoeira of Blanca, the game didn't just offer characters, it offered identities. Ryu, the wandering warrior from Japan, seeks the thrill of the fight to become the strongest he can be, embodying the spirit of the game. Then there's Ken, the flashy American fighter, providing a stark contrast with his red gi and fiery shuriken, illustrating the game's depth in character differentiation. Chun-Li, the first female fighter in a mainstream video game, wasn't just a milestone for representation, she was a statement of power and agility. Her rapid kicks, a symbol of the game's dynamic combat system. Each character's story added layers to the game, transcending the traditional fight-to-win motive. Guile fought to avenge his fallen comrade, M. Bison served as a tyrannical antagonist, and Dhalsim's quest for spiritual enlightenment brought a unique ethical dimension to the arena. These narratives provided players not just with fighters to control, but a cause to champion. At the heart of Street Fighter II lies its gameplay mechanics, a beautifully complex system that transformed pixelated brawlers into an art form. This wasn't just about who could hit the hardest, it was about strategy, timing, and let's be honest, knowing just when to spam the Hadouken when your back's against the wall. The game introduced the fighting genre community to a 6-button control scheme. Light, medium, and heavy punches and kicks that allowed for a variety of attacks and depth previously unseen. This variety meant players could strategize and adapt their fighting style mid-game, leading to intense, nail-biting comebacks that had arcade goers cheering and groaning in equal measure. But what truly set Street Fighter II apart was the introduction of character-specific special moves. Mastering these moves wasn't just a part of the game, it became a rite of passage. From Ryu's iconic Hadouken to Zangief's devastating spinning pile driver, each required a unique combination of joystick acrobatics and precise timing. This complexity added a layer of skill differentiation that turned casual players into dedicated warriors striving for perfection. The game's balance between offensive and defensive strategies was another hallmark. Players could block, throw, and perform combo attacks, sequences of moves that were difficult for opponents to counter. The combo system, a happy accident discovered by players and embraced by the developers, became a game changer. It rewarded skill and creativity, leading to some of the most exhilarating movements in gaming history. In the midst of all this strategic depth, let's take a quick combo breaker moment. If you've ever executed a perfect combo or felt the thrill of a last-second victory, why not like and subscribe? It's easier than a dragon punch, but just as satisfying. Now, back to the action. Street Fighter II also pioneered competitive gaming with its versus mode. Players could challenge each other directly, leading to the birth of a local, national, and eventually international tournaments. This wasn't just a game, it was a global phenomenon that brought people together, fostering a community that thrives to this day. But Street Fighter didn't just make waves in the gaming world, it set off a tsunami. Upon its release in arcades and later on home consoles, it became an unprecedented commercial success, redefining what it meant to be a hit game. But the numbers alone don't do justice to the cultural earthquake it caused. This juggernaut of a game ranked in over $2 billion in revenue in 1994, with the arcade machines alone gobbling up quarters to the tune of $1.5 billion. It became the best-selling title of the time for Capcom, turning the company into a household name almost overnight. But beyond the eye-watering financial success, Street Fighter II birthed a global competitive scene that transformed arcade corners into arenas of glory. The game's impact on pop culture was colossal. It inspired a generation of gamers, developers, and artists, infiltrating every form of media from movies to music. It even had its own animated and live-action films. Though, let's be honest, some things are better left in the arcade cabinet. The characters became icons, recognizable far beyond the confines of the gaming community. Ryu's Hadouken became a symbol of power, a gesture replicated in playgrounds and offices alike. But beyond the stats of the sales, Street Fighter II was a social phenomenon. It brought people together, forging friendships and rivalries, teaching the values of competition and respect. The local arcades became a battleground where respect was earned one quarter at a time. This was more than just a game. It was a community, a place where anyone could be a hero, where the stories of epic battles and narrow victories were passed down like folklore. Now diving into the hidden quarters and shadowy back alleys of Street Fighter II, we unearth a treasure trove of trivia, Easter eggs, and little-known facts that even the most seasoned players might have missed. Among these gems, one stands out, a detail so elusive it turned the gaming community on its head when discovered. First off, did you know that Street Fighter II is responsible for the invention of the combo system as we know it? Originally, as I mentioned earlier, a glitch. Players found they could chain attacks in a way not anticipated by the developers. Rather than patching this out, Capcom recognized its potential to add depth to the gameplay, inadvertently giving birth to a feature that would become a staple in fighting games. But let's get to the pièce de résistance, the secret that remained hidden in plain sight for years. The mysterious Sheng Long was born from a mistranslation of Ryu's victory quote. You must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance. Gamers worldwide spent countless hours trying to unlock this supposed character, leading to one of the gaming world's most infamous wild goose chases. Capcom, amused and inspired by the fervor, later introduced Akuma, adding a layer of truth to the myth, showcasing how fan engagement can shape the game development. Then there's the cameo of Capcom's logo within the game itself. Subtle and almost unnoticeable, the Capcom logo appears in the background of Ken's stage, a small nod to the creators that many players zoom past in the heat of the battle. And for those with a detailed eye, each character's stage in Street Fighter was a window into their world, rich with cultural references and hidden details. Dhalsim's stage, for instance, featured elephants in the background, which are actually carefully animated to react to the fight, blinking and flapping their ears in response to the action. Street Fighter II was also among the first games to introduce the concept of mirror matches, allowing players to fight against the same character they were now standard fighting games was a marvel at pushing the limits of and adding a layer of to the match. There you have it, folks. Win tour of the pick that is Street Fighter II. From its accidental combos that became a genre mainstay to miss that sent players on existent characters, this game has it all. Remember, in the world of Street Fighter, whether you're Hadoukens or getting KO for the time, part of a legacy that transformed bedrooms and arcades into stages of battles. Keep those quarters handy. You never know when you'll need to challenge someone to a rematch. And if you kicking and punching back through history of Fighter 2, click this video here to see more from the Retro Reload. And as always, thank you for watching.